Hi guys, this is Lori Stansel, international speaker, published author, life strategist, Christian minister, and entrepreneur. I decided to do, and I've never done this before, and I don't know why it took me so long to do it, because I love doing this, and that's a summer reading. I enjoy reading. I love reading. Successful Women Think Differently by Valorie Burton. Now, this is the old cover. I don't think the cover looks like this now. Valorie Burton is amazing. She is also a life strategist, so we're in the same field. So a lot of what she says, I say, but she expounds on it so well. She's such an amazing writer. Let's jump into the introduction. She talks about defining success. And so she writes, as I define it, success is a harmony of purpose, resilience, and joy. When these three elements flow together, you will experience true success. So the flow of purpose, resilience, and joy. Think of it this way. Success is living your life's purpose and embracing resilience and joy as you do. Purpose is a service that fulfills the successful women. Purpose is about making a difference in the lives of others. In other words, you cannot live your life's purpose unless you are in some way serving others. I think this is just, to me, it's common sense, but I think in the society that we live in, it's groundbreaking, because many times you hear people say all the time, I'm just gonna do me. That's my pet peeve, guys. Okay, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there today. I'm going to go there. I'm gonna do me. You just do you. I'm gonna live my life. Okay. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your life. What I don't like about that statement is that it turns the whole camera of your life on you. That's why it's my pet peeve. It's not that I don't want people to be happy. Listen. If you want to enjoy your life, enjoy your life. You should enjoy your life. But when it's all about you enjoying your life, there is a problem. So even people who have said, I have found my purpose in life, but if some element of what they're doing is not providing a service or helping others, then are you truly living the fullness of your purpose? We were created for community. We were created for fellowship. If you're Christian, okay, I'll specify, we believe that our inheritance, what God has given to us through Christ, is realized among the saints. You cannot live your purpose without contributing to community. So when you turn the full camera on yourself, right, and you make it about you only, then you're not even going to realize your fullest potential, because you need other people in your life to pull that out of you. You need other people in your life to pull purpose out of you, to pull things. Why do you think that some people do so well when they're facing a crisis? Now, I'm not saying that we should go around looking for a crisis, okay? I'm not saying that. But some people seem to really shine in the face of crisis. It's like they get this determination that rises up in them that causes them to dig deep. So sometimes other people can pull that out of you that's once lied dormant. I remember having someone say to me, there's value in you that you don't even see in yourself. And you won't see it in yourself until someone else pulls it out of you, which is really powerful. That's why it's not good for you to be alone. You could be as smart as the day is long. Okay, you could have the highest IQ in the world. You could be well versed in many topics. But if you don't put yourself in an environment where you are in a communal environment where you're being challenged in your thinking, you're being prodded, you're being pulled, you're being faced, you're being just stirred up, then all of the things that you have inside of you will lay dormant. They will not fully ignite or activate. And what will happen is you'll become frustrated. You'll start saying to yourself, man, I've got so much to give. I got so much. Yes, you do. But are you making an active decision to give it? We were designed, our gifts and talents were designed to give out in service to other people. She goes on to say on page 11, it's not about us. It is always about using your strength in the service of others. How is someone's life better because they've crossed your path? That's a really big question to ask yourself. I always said to myself, whenever I had a job or a position, how can I add my strengths and my talents and my ability so that when the time comes for me to leave this place or move on from this place, that I can say and I can measure and I can see how the place is better, how the company is better, how the mindset is better, how the environment is better, how the organizational structure is better. That's always been something that I promised myself I would do, even in a situation where I didn't want to be, or where I wasn't happy or wasn't, respected. I always thought, where can I focus my energies? Is there a person? Is there a project? Is there something that I can pour into so that when I leave, I can say that the time spent was well spent and that it wasn't in vain, that I did not suffer through all of this and then have nothing to show. So I've always been that way. So I like the concept here that she's saying is, how has someone's life improved because you're in it or because they crossed your path? There is a greater impact for you to make, and now is the time to make it. Now, when she wrote this book, she didn't, obviously there was no coronavirus, there was no, racial upset going on when she wrote the book, but the words are very true. They ring true today. Now is the time to use your strength to service other people. Will you do it? Will you step up and do that? What does that look like for you? Because everyone is different. Our makeup is different. Our purpose is unique to us. So how do you look at your life in a way that you can say, all right, I'm going to take all of my strengths, I'm going to take everything that God has given me, and I'm going to find a way, I'm going to search out a way where I can employ those things in service to others. Because she says, again, I'm going to read the definition again, purpose is about making a difference in the lives of others. You cannot live your life purpose unless you are in some way serving others. So she goes on to say that living your purpose is not only what you are here for, but it also empowers you. Your purpose becomes your passion. It becomes the fuel to your passion, because life is going to get tricky. It's going to get sticky. It's going to get rough. And so if you don't have an internal why, if you don't have that internal strength that you can dig down into, that's going to push you, then you'll give up. I'm telling you, you will give up. And even when you have all of that, okay, let's just be real. Even when you have all of that, you're still tempted to give up. You're still tempted to just say, forget all of this. I'm tired of this. This is, right? But when you have your purpose intact, when you know what that is, when you're employing your strengths, when you are servicing other people, when you understand your why, they become deeply seated for you, and they actually give you the power, the empowerment to keep going when everything in your emotions, everything in your soul is telling you to stop. That's why it's important that before you endeavor to do something, that you take time to really count up the cost, to really assess Why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I want praise from people? Because guess what? Praise comes and goes. So take a minute to look at, why am I doing this? Why am I, and be honest with yourself. Listen, I'm not going to hear your thoughts. Be honest with yourself. Why am I doing that? So I love how she wrote that living your purpose empowers you to succeed. So it gives you the ability to be successful. She talks about resilience. Resilience is something that I love talking about. I did a 2-part teaching on being stretched. And you can go to my YouTube channel, The Good Life with Lori, and you can listen to it, or watch it, I should say. But in there, I defined resilience, and I talked about resilience is the ability to be able to bounce back. And I used, in the example, I used a slinky. I don't know what part of the world you're watching from, but here in the U.S., we used to have a toy called the slinky. The slinky was a cool toy because it would always recoil back to his original position. So like if you were at the top of the stairs and you tipped the slinky down, it would literally flip down each step. And then when it got to the bottom, when the momentum stopped, it would recoil right back to its original position. That's what it means to be resilient. Being resilient means that you have the ability, through what you have gone through in life, you've been conditioned, you've been trained, you've been prepared, and now when you face something, you might be stretched. Now listen, the slinky is stretched, you can stretch it. But when you're done being stretched, when you're done being tried, when you're done being tempted, when you're done with that crisis, you go right back to your original position. You take a licking, but you keep on ticking. So that's really what it means to be resilient. So she says, nothing is perhaps more important to actually achieving success than the ability to be resilient in the face of challenges. So in other words, if you want to achieve your success, you have to have the ability to bounce back. You have to have the ability to recoil back. Okay, that's really important. She says that successful women excel when they began to think differently about their fears and about their failures and about their setbacks and their challenges. What does that mean? That means that you don't look at setbacks, failures, and challenges as final. You look at them as par for the course. It's part of the journey that I have to be on to get to my destination. And it's making me internally, but it's also seasoning me for what's coming next. And so your setbacks and your failures and your challenges in life, they're good seasoning. So they get you to a place where when you're in that position where success is coming to you, you're ready to process it, you're ready to receive it, you're ready to develop it, you're ready to run with it because of all the things that you've gone through that could have stopped you, prepared you, and made you and shaped you. And so that, if you're thinking like that about your setbacks, about your failures, about your challenges, then you won't look at them as final. We're going to go on to chapter 2 on page 65. So in chapter 2, she talks about happiness. She says that 40% of happiness is about intentional activity. That means that the choices you make and the actions you take have a direct impact on just how happy you are. I'll read that again. Studies show that 40% of happiness is about intentional. That means something you do on purpose. Intentional activity. That means the choices you make and the actions you take have a direct impact on how happy you are. Happiness is not simply about what happens. It is, but it's not only about what happens in your life. It's about it's about what you do, how you think, and the environment you put yourself in. Wow. To me, that was profound, because what that's saying is that almost 50% of your happiness is up to you. Ha! It's up to you. Almost 50% of your happiness It's up to you. Intentional activities, the choices that you make, and the actions that you take. So that means that you have to take responsibility for your happiness. So now, when you're younger and you're a minor, you don't control those things. So, decisions are made for you. That's a different scenario. But as an adult, as a free thinker, as an adult person, 40% of your happiness is based on intentional activities. So what are you doing? How are you acting? Think about that. That's something to think about. She goes on to say that 10% of happiness is determined by your circumstance. So why do most of us insist that happiness is determined by what happens in life? That's crazy. That is crazy. So that means that we have majored on the minor. We have majored on the 10%, and we've minored on the 40%. So it sounds like to me, we need to shift our focus. And the things that we can't control, we can't control. We couldn't control this coronavirus. Can't control it. Now we can pray. We can pray and seek God concerning it. But it being out there, it's out there. That's 10% of your overall happiness. 40%. I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but I want this to sink in. 40% of your happiness is based on intentional activities. What you do and what you say. So 10%, let's say coronavirus hits, boom. Now, what you do, what you say going forward directly impacts how you experience happiness. I want you to think about that, because I want you to start to shift how you look at what makes you happy, or what has to be in place to make you happy. So let's go on. Changing your circumstances, whether through a new car, a 50-pound weight loss, promotion at work, or winning the lottery, all provide a temporary boost of happiness. But since circumstances account for just 10% of happiness, the newness will eventually become the norm, and you will revert to your happiness set point. So she talks about you have a set point, which makes up 50% of your happiness. So what she's saying is, we're focusing our happiness on things that are temporary, things that don't bring lasting fulfillment. We're basing a chunk of what we think happiness is in that direction. That's why we're so disappointed. That's why we're so disillusioned, because we look around and we have all these things and we feel empty, dead, dying, dry inside, because we've majored on the minor. We've taken the things that are small in significance, we've magnified them and made them bigger than what they should be. And so we put all our eggs in that basket, and then when that basket drops and crashes to the ground, all the eggs are broken. Now we have nothing, because we've placed all of our weight on something that we never should have done in the first place. What you do each day has a direct impact on how you feel, and how you feel greatly influences how you make your decisions. Say you had a bad day. You come home, you had a bad day at work, you come home, and your family's happy, right? They're ecstatic, they're happy. They had a good day. You come home and they're like, "Hey, let's go out and get some ice cream," right? And you're like, I don't feel like getting any ice cream today. I don't feel like getting any ice cream. What's happening? You have an opportunity. Let's dig into this. You have an opportunity to spend time with your family. Your family wants to spend time with you. Okay? They don't want to run from you. They actually want to be with you. They want to spend time with you. And they are suggesting that we do that in the means of getting ice cream. Because you had a bad day, that's coloring your decision. So you're saying, well, I don't feel like getting ice cream. So you say no. You have a couple more bad days. Same thing. Then you have a good day. You come home. Hey guys, let's get some ice cream. And your family's like, no, we don't want no ice cream. Okay? Because when we wanted to spend time with you, you weren't interested. You, in their mind, in their perception, again, perception, you rejected us. You turned us down. So now, we're not interested. You made the mistake of letting your circumstance dictate your happiness and influence your decisions. Instead of coming home, and try this for example. Come home, you had a bad day. Your family says, let's go out and get some ice cream. You don't feel like getting ice cream. You don't feel like being bothered. You really don't feel like talking to anybody or be seen. But instead of giving in to that feeling, you pull back. You become self-aware of what's actually going on around you. Okay, wait a minute. I feel yucky, but they feel great. They want to spend time with me. That's a priority. And I know that 40% of my happiness is connected to intentional activity. So I'm going to bypass my feelings and I'm going to get the ice cream. What did you just do? You just made a decision separate from your feelings. You keep doing that, then you'll find yourself becoming resilient. And you'll find yourself being able to say, this happened to me at work, but this is not my life. This is not the end. I have a family that loves me. I have things going on in my life that are noteworthy, that are honorable. And so I'm going to let this day just be what it is, a day. And I'm going to move on, and I'm going to enjoy my family and my friends and the things that bring me satisfaction. And then when I go back to work the next day, I'm going to face that challenge with a renewed vigor. I want you to really understand how you can take control of how you process things and how you respond. Again, you had a bad day. Maybe something happened that was out of your control. But what is in your control is in your control. And that's where that intentional mindset comes in. Make the choice to be happy. That means finding something for which to be grateful. It means using what you've got to enjoy your life in the moment. It takes discipline to look at things that you don't like, look at situations that you don't like, look at circumstances that you don't like, or things that are not going your way, things that are not happening the way that you want them to, and to say, okay, I see all of this stuff. I'm not in denial. Okay, I'm not walking around in the fog, but I'm grateful. That helps you to take intentional steps and to do things intentionally because you're grateful. So for example, going back to the example I just gave you about having a bad day, you come home, your family wants to get ice cream, you're not in the mood, you don't want to be bothered, but instead of going back into your cave, right, just going into that safe shell, especially if you're an introvert. If you're an introvert, then your default is the shell. If you're a turtle, the shell is your default. That's where you like to be. So you're having a bad day, so it's very easy to crawl into that shell. But when you become grateful, then you're able to bypass that feeling of disappointment for the moment that you're in. Bypass that feeling of disappointment. Embrace the moment for what it is. Okay? And enjoy the moment. And you do that by being grateful. So you say to yourself, okay, I had a bad day. Don't want to be bothered. Don't feel like talking to anybody. Don't want any ice cream. Okay, don't want it. But I'm grateful that I have a family that wants to be with me, because there are so many people that don't. So in light of that grateful heart that I now have, because I'm putting things into perspective, I'm going to go get that ice cream. You see how all this is kind of tying together? I really hope that this is helping you, because we're living in a time and in a society where we're going to be faced with a lot of challenges that we've not been faced with before. And if you don't go in with a plan, if you don't go in with discipline, if you don't go in with resilience, if you don't go in with a growth mindset, if you don't have your mind right, if your mindset is not proper or not healthy or strong, you won't stand. You won't stand because you won't have the tools to help you. I did a 3-part teaching on how to thrive after crisis. And I think in the second part, I talked about Corrie ten Boom. And I won't go into her story. You can go back onto my YouTube channel, The Good Life with Lori. You can watch it there, or you can Google her and listen to her interview in her own words. But one of the things that I admire most about her was she knew what her purpose was. So even when her life was turned completely upside down, that 10% of her happiness, which is based on circumstances, when all that flipped upside down, she was able to begin again and still live in her purpose. Even though it was different, it looked different than it did before, like before the events occurred. It still honored why she was there, why she was created. It still honored her purpose because she was able to reframe her world when she came out of that situation, because her mindset was right. She went in to the situation with the right mindset. She had the right resources around her. She was girded up, she was built up, and she was ready. Take this time to do that by reading books like this, you know, listening to teachings, working on yourself. You know, if you don't have a coach, get a coach. It doesn't have to be me. Get a coach, get a mentor. Find someone that's going to help you in that area so that you can be intentional about your happiness, and that you don't have to fall prey and become a victim of your circumstances. And you will realize that, listen, I can't help, or I may not be able to stop what's happening to me, but I can control how I perceive it, how I process it, how I respond to it, and what I do next.